For a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The secretary, please, perform roll call attendance.
Here.
Mr. Fetchy?
Here.
Mr. Rue absent. Mr. Brino?
Here.
Mr. Bulgari absent. Mr. Mullins?
Here. Okay, well, the board members have received the minutes from the secretary for the July 1st meeting. If there's no questions regarding the minutes, could we get a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll move that.
Okay,
Second.
all right, motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, our first item on the agenda this evening is a public hearing regarding Wappinger Farms Estate subdivision. Need a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Good evening, everyone. Derek Day, Day Engineering, representing Wappinger Farm Estates. The project is located at 105 Robinson Lane in the
All right,
town.
Good, just 1 minute. Yeah, Mark, if you could put it over by Jim, Mr. Rand, so that the camera can pick that up.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you.
The project is located at 105 Robinson Lane. The proposed project is the development of 11 residential lots, 8 of the lots being on the east side of Robinson Lane, 3 being on the west side. The lots vary in size from roughly 1 to 4 acres. Originally, the applicant of the project wished to dedicate any remaining acreage to the town. However, the DEC is involved as one of the review agencies in the project, and they required that we use some of the land as a nesting habitat for Blanding's turtles. And as a result, the applicant has decided to make any remaining acreage for the property just part of Lot 8. And since the last meeting, I know a few comments. There was, we've been in contact with Brian Franks, the surveyor of record. Since the last meeting, he has staked out the centers of the driveways, and he has also completed the deed description for the Robinson Lane acreage dedication. And that is all I have to say for now.
Okay. All right, so I guess at this point, there's the property in the rear then would be, is not going to be conveyed to the town.
That's correct.
Right, that's the plan.
Mm-hmm.
All right. With that, you're going to need to approach the town board regarding this issue, because the previous, there's the rezone of the property previously was contingent upon that property being conveyed to the town. So that would have to be discussed at a, after tonight, I should reach out to the town attorney and work on getting that put on the town board agenda, just to confirm that the town board is not expecting that property in return.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as part of the zoning change that was done back in, I forgot which year. What was it? 07. Okay. All right, so that's just one item that will need to get squared away.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so at this point, we're going to open the floor to the public for public comment. So at this time, if anybody wishes to, has any questions or concerns regarding this project, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Leonard Abatantuono, number 9 Paulette Lane, Wappinger Falls. Just on the proposal, how far into the property of Paulette Lane
address the board. I
Okay.
mean, we'll get them answer the question.
I'd like to know where they're gonna construct homes, how far into the property along Paulette Lane do they reach? Because the half of it is gonna be wetland area that they're not gonna work on, right?
Okay, we'll let the engineer answer the question. Yeah, you can, I'll let you, just, you have to come up to the microphone though, just so that they can hear.
Okay, the houses are actually, I'm gonna flip the plan around if you don't mind. The majority, you can see where the houses are. The property goes way back to the creek. You can see exactly where, you can walk right up to it. It's, the houses are within 300 to 400 feet of the road. That's it. The balance of the subdivision remains undeveloped.
This is Robinson Lane, so Paulette's over here. Over here, right here. This is the back of our property, Paulette, you know. So this would be my house. Yeah. Yeah, that's only one house approaching, so you don't wanna know how close.
Okay, so,
That house on lot number 8, how close is that to the property?
It's between this house?
Yeah.
This is the 25-foot side yard setback at that line. So you're probably 35 to 40 on that side.
On the Paulette side?
This is the side yard setback.
Okay.
Here you go.
Oh, that's good. Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
nice.
see, this is the setback line,
okay.
Okay.
so you can see we're within the setbacks.
Are you going to be,
Okay, let's get the questions, let's stay, excuse me, you don't have one meeting here. Let's all
Okay,
get back in, all right, so your question was regarding how close,
well, that was, yeah,
How
we
deep
wanna
into
know
the
how,
property.
how
right,
much.
which is the property,
How much of Paulette Lane property is it gonna be bordered on, where they're building?
okay.
That's- He just pointed that out.
Yeah.
My other question would be, if the town did get this
Oh.
property,
Just take the, no, there's a portable microphone on the table. Oh. Thank you. No,
okay, no,
for you.
Me? You can't hear me? I'm sorry.
this question is more for the town, because I was around when, in '07, '05, or whenever it was, and they had the previous proposals.
Correct.
If the town was to get that property deeded to them like was said the first time, what are you gonna do with it? Because they propose putting in fields with lights and barriers and build a berm and put sound barriers in, you
Well,
know.
this proposal doesn't include that. So they're not planning on doing it. There was an agreement when there was a change in zoning of the property on the previous project. And in the agreement for the zoning change was that the developer at the time was gonna donate the rear of the property to the town for recreation purposes. That is no longer part of this subdivision. And it looks like right now that the DEC wants them to use it for other things, more or less to, remain forever wild. So that would be, so there's no concern regarding that.
Okay.
We just have to make sure that the town board, has no concerns with it, being that it was an agreement made by the town board back in 2007 that they were gonna give them the property. Now it's gonna go the other direction, where they're not gonna take the property.
Okay,
So, okay?
that was my concern. Well, yeah,
Okay. All right, just please state your name and address for the record.
Lenore O'Reilly, 3 Paulette Lane.
Okay.
Years ago, 2007, maybe even earlier, the town agreed for that builder to put a berm from one Paulette all the way down because of the flooding. Are they still gonna honor that?
To install a berm?
A burn for the flooding, well, when they redid the bridge down on Robinson is when it all started. The flooding, I mean, Lenny's house almost gets hit by the floods, but those people down there are swimming. And they agreed to put a burn in to help control the flooding if they were ever gonna do anything with this property that they're gonna build it.
Okay,
I can't find it in the records.
okay. I mean, the only thing we'll do is we'll have staff review that. We'll also have the engineer address that question also to be brought up at a future meeting. Okay?
Yeah, we're just curious about that, because, I mean, the flooding doesn't affect our house.
Mhm.
It's just the people down there, you see their picnic tables floating. And the town just more or less ignores it.
Okay. I mean, we'll have the engineer review that
Okay.
and see if there's anything that needs to be addressed.
And my husband's concerned. The trees on our back property, all the way down, 1, 3, 5, for 40 years, they've been growing. We've been caring for them. They're beautiful maples. You're not gonna cut them down, are you?
More than likely, no.
No.
There's only a certain area around the house that we're gonna disturb. After that, everything to the east, southeast is gonna remain.
How close is this house gonna be to the horse track?
It's the horse track, it's on the horse track.
The house is gonna be on the horse, all
It
right.
is.
So then, if you start the house there and go that way, it won't interfere with the trees.
It's right on the horse track.
Yeah, we just wanna keep our privacy.
No, I understand, and we're within our buffers, I mean, our side yard setback.
Okay. Okay. And just the burn, I mean, the flooding is wild.
We'll have the engineer look into that.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Hi, my name is Linnea Ballou, and I live at 110 Robinson, so I live on the other side of the street. I'm just wondering, like, how close the houses are gonna be to my property, because I have these beautiful woods next to me right now, and I'd like to see that. The other question I have is, are the houses gonna be built, is there gonna be a cul-de-sac, or are the driveways all gonna come out to the road? Because people go flying down that road right now, and I'm
It's-
just,
Yeah,
know.
independent driveways.
independent, all of
Yes,
them will have,
All of them, yes.
all of them will be independent?
Yep.
Okay. Maybe, could you show me?
You're here?
I'm 110, so.
Yeah, so this is, you're looking at a 200 scale, so you're approximately 250 feet away from the property line.
Okay.
Aren't they staked out right now?
Let's see, my house
Aren't they
would be-
staked
No,
out
your
right
house is
now?
over here.
The driveways? Oh, yeah, that's
I'm still gonna-
correct. That's what he
Oh,
said.
this
Yeah.
is all.
Yes, there's-
Oh,
I see where the stakes
The
are,
house
so
is
those-
up here,
Yeah.
so it's about 250 feet away.
Okay, and where did you say my house
I
would
think
be?
it's be over in this area.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And just for the record, I guess if the driveways are currently staked out, so there's a marker at each driveway. Yep, so you'd be able to see where all the driveways are gonna go.
When will they start to build?
Speak at the microphone, please.
I'm just curious when the building will begin.
Tomorrow.
Not tonight?
Yeah, they have. They have
And
to,
I'm a little concerned about the traffic too, because people fly down that road right now, and I'm just a little concerned about that.
no, they still, the town engineer and the highway superintendent have to go out and look at the proposed driveways, which they'll come back to the board with their recommendations, if any. But I mean, if it's a speeding problem, unfortunately, that's something that would have to be dealt with a law enforcement agency. So somebody would have to enforce that. We have no control over those issues.
Okay, I wondered if the speed limit was gonna be brought down at all. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Anyone else from the public that has any questions or concerns? Okay. Being that we have the town board to contend with the,
If I may just ask a couple,
Yes, go ahead.
Where is DEC want the landings habitat?
Back here, they basically have selected this area back here for it.
Is there any nesting? I mean, did Mike do it?
Yeah, but the DEC never
Yeah,
visited. the
Mark,
site.
could you grab the microphone? All
Yeah,
right,
the
thank
DEC
you.
never visited the site. They only said that there's been sightings in the area. So we basically have been working around them. We met with everybody over there in the winter months. And they basically asked us to create an area here that would be scarified every year so that they could, I guess, apparently crawl out of the creek and have a festival here and then leave.
I guess the other question was the, the flood zones,
Yeah, that's all identified right here.
because since it expanded greatly on the 2012 mapping compared to what was there, and that was kind of that was the discussion in the prior proposal, because this abuts Robinson Lane. And one of the things, in looking at some of the history of the prior agreement, there was a determination as to how much of the property was usable and not usable. And in 2012, FEMA, as Barbara well knows, substantially changed the flood zone mapping in the town of Wappinger, and it greatly expanded on this property. So, where the AE flood zone was probably down in this area before, it's now almost to the back of the houses.
There is a finger that runs right up into
Right.
this lot, and the balance of it is shown here. But that's really the only change, was that there's a finger that runs into that lot.
Yeah, so, and I think this land is drier than Robinson Lane, which is the town owns next to it, so.
I
Okay.
guess I have one more question to Linnea Baloo, 110 Robinson. I don't know that much about construction, but will all of the houses have their own wells? Okay, very good. Thank you.
It's well accepted.
Yep. Okay. All right. No other questions? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to adjourn the public hearing to September the 16th in order to get the town board's comments regarding the previous zoning change. Okay, so I just need a motion to adjourn the public hearing to September the 16th.
I'll make that motion.
I need a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so motion carries. Okay, thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda this evening is Old Hopewell Commons for amended site plan. Okay. All right, so you received the resolution from the
Yes.
planner? Okay. We just have one minor change. Actually, the board had all received copies of received the revision of the plan showing the light and the fencing, as per the discussion during the last meeting. Everybody seems acceptable. So, with that, we had the resolution also prepared by the planner, but we did have one minor change to the resolution.
Okay.
It was just that it was to delineate that there's 12 decks on the building. So just showing the number of decks, that's all. It was a question we brought up earlier. But other than that, I guess we can vote on the approval for the amended site plan. So we have a motion to approve it as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second that.
so motion's made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so the motion carries.
Thank you very
So,
much.
all set there. All right?
Was that final? I'm sorry, the resolution? The resolution was for final?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a one-stage
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very
process, so.
yeah, it was, yeah, everything was contingent on your proposed, what you were gonna propose to us for the lighting. And then just some details on the fencing. So being that has been added to the plan, that was all incorporated into the resolution. So,
Thank you very much.
all right, thank you. All right. All right. So, next item this evening is lot line consolidation and special permit for Route 376 Holdings.
We need some easel control legislation. I think they get that again. Yeah, easel.
Hello, my name is Kyle Bardwell. I'm from the Chazen Companies. I'm here with my coworker Christopher Lapine, and we're here to represent Route 376 Holdings. So we were last in front of you for the April Planning Board meeting, at which time we were requesting a variance. There was a variance that stated there are no fueling stations within 1,000 feet from a residential district or a religious facility. Since that meeting, the town board has amended the zoning code, and this no longer pertains, and we're no longer seeking a variance. Since the last meeting, we received planning comments from CPL. One of the comments was requesting that the loading area was increased in size, which we have done in this submission that was submitted. Another planning comment was for the outdoor seating to be moved further away from the parking in the building. This was also amended in our updated site plan. Another comment was to provide protection around the propane storage outside of the building. We provided bollards for protection of the propane cage, and we also flip-flopped the freezer iced tank with the propane to give it further protection. There was another request for DOT drawings. So since the last submission, Mazer Consulting has been working on the design in Route 376, and we submitted a preliminary site plan, grading plan of their work for the 376 work. Yeah, so the traffic report was also submitted to you, it was previous to the last meeting here, so that's there for comment as well.
Okay. All right. All right, so you did the, here, okay, so I guess there was a couple of questions. I guess one was you obviously had the most recent letter from CPL. And I guess they had some questions just regarding the turning radiuses of the vehicle, and they're having to go into the hatched area in the middle of the road, I guess in order to gain access to the site.
Yeah, we received their comments on that particular issue, and we can incorporate some mountable curbing in this area here so that they can continue to stay in their drive lane going northbound and swing into the site.
Okay, so you're gonna incorporate
We
that
can
then
incorporate
into the
that.
plan, all right, to create the, all right, and then also there was I guess regarding the Hackensack Heights driveway, regarding from that, actually milling the road on Hackensack Heights from there going out to the 376, I guess due to the condition of the road currently.
Yep.
Sounds like it's in, it's not in that great a shape currently. And with the work that's gonna happen on 376, they were looking to see if there was, the ability to also pave that section.
We've conveyed this to the client. It's about 160 feet to 170 feet of roadway at approximately 30 foot of width. It's not a minor cost to take on for this, as there's significant DOT improvements being done. He is contemplating that. We are considering perhaps relocating our construction entrance as well to minimize that, any further degradation of that roadway, but it's still being considered for this project. We're not at a
Okay.
point where we could say yes or no to that.
Okay, so this is one of the things, so you'll get back to us on,
We will share his
Okay.
thoughts on that.
all right. Okay. And there was also an email that went out regarding regarding the SWIP.
Yeah, we were taken back by that. We were under the impression that.
Yeah, and I believe the intention is they just have to, within the firm, they have to reach out to the person that actually reviewed the SWIP. So it's not that it's they're starting from scratch. They just
Understood.
want to confirm, who Bob, and whoever else in the firm had done it. It's just, unfortunately, now we have a change in engineers due to Bob Gray leaving the firm. Okay. All right. Let me refer, I guess, ask the planner if you have is there anything that you had directly
I
that
have
hasn't
nothing-
been
I
addressed?
have nothing outstanding, no.
Okay, all right. Also, Greg, do you have any other,
The only thing that wasn't addressed was they were also looking at whether or not there was the ability to have a truck delivery from the north. The only tracking plan that's shown is for a truck coming from the south.
Correct. During the review of this project with the neighboring residents on Hackensack Heights Road, there was a request not to have the delivery trucks come in that route. Since Mr. Nejwat has his own fueling operations, he has the ability to control the truck maneuvering of the
Okay.
tractor trailers. And we committed to only a right turn in and right turn out on this project.
Okay.
That entryway couldn't handle it on Hackensack Heights.
Okay.
I guess one of the comments I think that Pete made was regarding the location of houses opposite the driveway.
Right, he had gone out there and taken a look at it, and he thought that it was fine, but he just wanted to see the houses shown on the plans, just to be able to see on the plan that the headlights of the vehicles won't be shining in the windows of the house.
Correct, that was one of the things we took into consideration. We tried to go in between the property lines here when we cited that location there.
Right.
But we can actually approximate those from Google
Just from-
Maps and put them
yep,
on our plans.
if you can do that, that'd be fine.
And maybe if you put the lot line too.
Yeah, we have the lot lines on the existing conditions plan, so
Okay.
we can turn those on in
Okay.
those.
okay. All right, so, other than that, at this point, you got the zoning's been taken care of, correct? All right. We had public hearing on this back in
March.
March.
Correct.
All right, so we're not really,
Just, I guess, Chris, for the record, what's the status of the cleanup?
We are still waiting on feedback from the DEC. All the paperwork has been submitted since we were last before the board.
So
All the paperwork associated with the cleanup from their environmental consultant.
so the work has been performed?
The work has been performed, the report's been issued to the DEC. They're waiting on some sort of written feedback from the DEC. We've proceeded with the Department of Health. They've approved our septic disposal system here. We need to drill the well on the site is our next order of business.
And then I guess there's, how many monitoring wells are gonna be going forward?
I don't know, going forward. I don't know how many they're gonna request or if they're gonna deem that this is cleaned up.
I don't think so.
Okay,
So if it's deemed cleaned up, then there would be,
none.
correct, except the wells associated with the tank.
Okay.
Chris, have elevations of the building been submitted yet?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
okay, so pretty much everything's, I mean,
There are
pretty
relatively
well
few items
addressed.
left.
Yeah. So I guess you're probably looking to try to get some type of final approval here.
That'd be great. Me and everybody else sitting out there.
Yeah. Do you think that the
you want
list, do you
balconies?
think the list is dwindled down enough to,
I think so.
yeah,
There can
for-
be, there would not be a laundry list of conditions.
of conditions?
There'd be 4 to 6, probably, something like that.
Okay. All right, I mean, I don't know, was the
Just
rest
from
of the, huh?
from a conditions point of view, if DEC does not deem the cleanup complete, would there be restrictions imposed on the property?
No, they would have to go back out to focal points that the DEC identifies for additional cleanup
Okay,
associated with the project.
And that would be a condition of the approval.
right. So that would be
Prior
prior
to-
to issuing a building permit.
Prior to building permit.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that would be one of the conditions, would be for them to get DEC approval,
Yep.
you know, for the, or actually, you know, their final sign-off on the remediation
Yes.
before they can go forward.
Prior to building permit.
Yep, so,
Because in some cleanups, they'll have a deed restriction. Sometimes they don't, depending on, you know, the level of contamination and different things, so,
right,
which, you know, I mean, this is not proposed to be a residential site, so.
Right.
The levels of cleanup are
yeah.
Not as stringent.
not as stringent, so.
But being one of the conditions, I mean, we could review it prior to, you know, give me a.
I guess the question is, did we get a comment letter back from DEC on that issue?
I think what you do have from the DEC, they replied back to your lead agency for seeker.
Okay.
That came back from the town, that was forwarded to our
Right.
office. So they've had acknowledgement of the process that's before them.
Yeah, I didn't know if they wanted any particular conditions, that's all.
The only thing that the Department of Health has asked is if they'd like to have the well double encased as opposed to single encased.
Okay.
But the well is not on the parcel that was contaminated. The well is further to the east, so
Okay.
to appease the DOH, we've asked.
It's to the.
Correct.
To the back of the property.
Yeah, so
Correct.
to appease the DOH, we've asked
So
the
that would
DEC
be
that
up-
question.
Up the gradient or up whatever.
We are, yes, it's not where there's any contamination detected.
Okay.
Was there a well there previously?
Yes, there is an on-site well,
And that's
but
gonna be
the-
sealed?
It is going to be abandoned and sealed. It's required to be 200 feet from your septic system. This was within 75 feet.
So there'd be
So-
2 resolutions if you want to go forward. One would be for the lot consolidation, or in other words, site plan, subdivision.
Yep.
And the other would be for site plan and special permit.
Yeah, so we're looking at the two, right, it would be two resolutions to
Right.
be drafted.
Right.
Okay, and we have, obviously, we have enough information at this point to go ahead. All right. So I guess it's a matter of whether or not the rest of the board feels that we should have the planner draft the two resolutions for the project. If everybody feels what's been submitted is satisfactory, to give them a, you know, an approval with conditions. So if so, I mean, if everybody's in agreement, then need a motion to go ahead and authorize the planner to write those resolutions.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Okay, so motion's made second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, our next item on the agenda this evening is 20 McFarland Road. Carlos Espinoza for an amended site plan.
Good evening, gentlemen. If you'll remember, we were before your board, I believe it was in December, discussing this project, which there were some disturbance within the wetlands, and we realized there has to be a mitigation and a wetlands permit issued for that. But in the meantime, we were directed to go to the ZBA to get an interpretation about whether or not, because this lot has a use variance, whether or not changes could be made to the site plan so that my client would end up with a site plan that he desires, which was increasing the size of the building and also taking down the old garage and putting up a newer, larger garage. So we went and we got a the interpretation that yes, the project can make improvements to the site. And we also received a variance for the size of a garage, which is allowed because we have to use the underlying district, which is the residential district, which limits the size of the garage. So we received a variance for the size of the garage, and we also received a variance for a front yard setback because there is an existing non-conforming condition for the front yard setback, and because we would be asking to make improvements to that building, we had to memorialize that with a variance. So those 3 items all happened at the ZBA, and now we are back here hoping to talk about the site plan and what we would like it to look like moving forward.
Okay. All right. So I guess you reviewed the letters from both the planner and the engineer regarding.
I did not get the planner's letter.
You didn't get ours?
No.
Oh, sorry. There are not a lot of major things in it. We mentioned that you need the wetlands permit because but you just mentioned that as well.
Yes.
You're showing some proposed landscaping, but there's a note on the plan that says there's no landscaping proposed, so.
There were a couple of changes between the sketch and
Right.
the site plan that didn't get picked up.
And
One
lighting
also-
and signage, and that's about it.
Okay, and I know that,
Thank you.
I did get this. The wetland as depicted is actually was, the wetland biologist went out and flagged it and it was survey located. That note just hasn't been added to the plan. So as it's depicted is how it was is how it is in the field. The old note wasn't updated.
Correct, okay, and that was kind of it was either correct the note or there was a little bit of a discrepancy, but yeah,
Yes.
the note would be appropriate to correct if that is in fact allowed.
There is a decrease in the amount of impervious surface from pre to post. We'll talk to Pete about drainage. I mean, this is an existing condition. We're not really changing anything on the site except for, cutting off some pavement and topping it. But I'll talk to him about what he's looking for with that.
Okay.
And I don't know the conditions, but on, McFarland and some of the, to the extent you can intercept anything running down the driveway into McFarland, it would be greatly appreciated, because, we've got a lot of issues on McFarland and some of the older town roads, because the drainage along the roads is not very good. So to the extent that you can intercept it on the driveway, it would be much appreciated, even if it would be,
We really don't have any, well.
Again, I'm not, I don't know if it's.
Unless
It's an existing.
Right, unless we
I don't know what's down
the whole
here.
driveway and replace it, I don't know we can do much.
Again, even if you just, put perforated pipe in I don't know what's down here, and I don't know if there's a drainage swale or something.
We'll take a look at it.
But just so long as it gets intercepted before it gets into because I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what, I kind of remember this as being, I don't think there's a negative grade before you get to the road.
I don't know either.
So-
I'll have to look at it.
And I think that's what Pete was looking for, is just to
Okay.
confirm.
Yep.
Okay. Also, I guess there was some, what was the other issue that, I guess the space between the building and the neighbor in front, I guess, was cleared. I
Yes.
guess originally, I remember from the previous site plan review that there was, the question was raised regarding whether anything was ever gonna happen there, and it was,
So we did have a public hearing for the ZBA for the variance, and there were comments from the public that really didn't have to do with the variance, but one of them was, our car is gonna be allowed to be parked there, and evidently a car had been parked there in the past, and we've proposed to put a bollard on either end so that cars cannot park between the property line and the building.
okay, yep,
So here and here, there would be bollards,
okay.
one on each end. That really is down to bedrock, so we really can't put a plantings there. So,
Okay.
right.
All right, okay, I guess I'm probably gonna, I guess at some point, we're gonna have to probably have another public hearing regarding this, because, you know, it was an uncoordinated review, you know, the planning, being that it's so close to other residential homes.
Right.
And being commercial use, they'll have their opportunity to voice their opinions, but, you know, as long as that's addressed on the plans prior to the hearing, maybe it'll, you know, satisfy the neighbors.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was, I was president of the ZBA meeting, and, you know, most of the comments from the neighbors were of a site plan nature. And, you know, the
Right.
board, you know, the condition of the variance is it's subject to site plan review, so, you know, whether some of the neighbors, come out.
Right.
Because there were some questions regarding, I guess, the, deliveries and things, but.
Right, the
it's not-
two other items were large delivery trucks,
Right.
which the client, the applicant has already reached out to his distributors, to ask that smaller trucks be sent. Also, if there are larger trucks, they would now be aware that they could actually go on the site and turn around. They don't have to back into the site if it ever happened,
Mhm.
you know, but he has asked for smaller delivery trucks. And another comment was, are there chemicals of a toxic nature that are kept on the site? And there aren't. They're really all cleaning products.
Mhm.
Nothing that needs to be registered with the DEC. So those were, I think those were the three major comments during the public hearing, which
Yeah.
I'm assuming we will hear again at the public hearing for the site plan.
All right.
Now,
Yeah.
does this need lead agency, or is this a?
This is the only agency, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, if it was starting with
Not a
us
type
and
one
then we were
action.
referring it
The
to,
ZBA acted already.
CBA's acted already.
Yeah.
yeah,
And-
There's nobody
It
else.
doesn't need to be a designation of lead agency.
I mean, I guess the only question is it a type two? I mean, we're just talking about, how big is this garage?
1,800 square feet. It's 30 by 60.
And this is,
Actually, on here tells you, there's a net decrease in
Yeah, no, I
impervious
just-
area,
I mean-
but the.
Microphone.
yeah, so, Margaret,
Just grab the microphone, yeah, thank
Are
you.
you looking to find out what the square footage?
Well, so for purposes of seeker, if you've got a non-commercial, was it less than 4,000 square feet? I mean, the question
Did
is.
you say non-commercial?
Or commercial?
Non-residential. But the question, because here's a use variance that's already been granted, so the question is.
Right.
It's not granting a use variance,
It's a little complicated.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
It's probably the safest thing to do is just to issue a neg deck as part of
say
the
it's unlisted,
resolution.
so, because it's not, I mean, it's not a substantial amount of work.
Right.
This is the only new construction for the most part.
And it's not a substantial amount of work to do the neg decks.
No.
Just to cover all the bases.
Okay, so we're still looking at this as an unlisted action?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Safe is better.
All right.
Is
Okay.
there any, is there any water or anything proposed for that building?
There would be heat, so I would assume there
I guess
has
the
to be
question is,
water.
are you having to go to health department for?
That was a comment with,
Well,
on
I
Pete's
believe, yeah, I
letter.
believe the engineer had commented on the, because they will need the health department
Well, if it's
approval for
only
the
a spigot
expansion.
and I don't have a sink, is there gonna be a sink or a sink in the garage? Yes, not just a spigot. Okay, so then we'll touch base with the health department to make sure that
Septic- Is there septic on?
there's
shown?
existing septic.
Is it shown on the site plan?
Maybe not.
But that may be something the health department wants to
'Cause
say.
It has
Yeah.
public water, right? You get public water, or is it a well?
No,
Not
it's
yet.
private, it's private well and septic in that area.
As of right now.
I don't believe the septic is shown.
No, I don't believe it is.
Yeah,
Let's-
those items.
I know where it is.
That's good, that's a plus.
Yeah. Also, with the proposal, obviously, they're taking the roof of the existing building off, and they're gonna raise it. And also with the new structure in the back,
We
we
do have,
usually
we
require,
do have renders.
you know, we usually require elevations.
Yep.
You know, of all four sides of both buildings. That would also need to be included in a future submission. And then also, again, I guess if it was brought up about the deliveries, and should probably, you know, address the vehicle turning, if you can get a, you know, if, you know, a delivery vehicle can turn around in there.
Sure.
And how they, you know, and how they would be able to do it, as opposed to,
Sure.
you know, to traverse the property, to get around parking spaces and things like that.
Okay.
Okay. Health department, do you have any?
No, just,
Okay.
I just was confirming, it does state in the letter that.
Yeah, that was,
they
it's,
need-
right, on the end of it, yeah, because it was based upon, but that approval was prior to this, and there was no change in the property, but being that there's an expansion of the, you know, of the floor, you know, of obviously the floor space in the building.
Right.
And its intended uses, the health department should weigh in on that. So we'll be, you know, one of the things would be is to get that approval also.
Mhm.
That, you know, you have sufficient septic and water. Okay. So I think, you know, if those, you can get those items addressed, you know, in a future submission, and then I guess maybe at that point, you know, we can move forward.
You,
I guess
you don't think that we're sufficiently enough far along to have a public hearing, which would be in September?
Well, we could have it, but I mean, then that would, you know, we could do that and open up the floor for public comment.
Which would move things along.
And then
I
after
mean-
the public hearing, then you can, well, you could submit, I think you need to submit something prior to the public hearing. That way that the
agree.
residents can see that some of the items are being addressed on the front side. That way it would limit the amount of items that need to be addressed after the public hearing,
I agree.
okay?
But if we could schedule a public hearing and I can submit, you know, not the day before, but obviously.
Yeah, I don't see any issues. Is there any, do you think there's
No showstoppers.
there's nothing major? Okay. Do board members feel that, with that, to go ahead and public
Yeah.
this? Sure. Okay. All right, so September 1st is, Huh? no, not the 1st, the fourth, correct.
Margaret, will you have enough time to submit at least 15 days earlier so that you can buck it out?
Well, it's already the 12th.
That's what I'm saying with the 16th.
Probably the 16th is
Give it
more
16th.
realistic.
Feel more
And
comfortable with
give
that?
you like 3 weeks to get something together
Okay.
and then enough time to get it to the board members.
Okay, so at this point, we're looking to make a motion to schedule a public hearing for September the 16th.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
All right.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. All right, our next item on the agenda this evening is special use permit, Wappinger Route 9D Solar Farm.
Good evening.
Evening.
When we were here last month, you had just a couple of pretty basic comments on what we had submitted previously. To address your comments, we added some bollards around the proposed equipment, and we put a detail for the bollard right on the site plan. And we also provided additional information regarding the storage containers and the equipment contained therein. We haven't seen any comments at all from CPL. I know Mr. Stolman had only, actually, there were no real comments, just.
Just reaffirming the net
just-
deck.
Exactly.
Right, so, yeah, so I mean, really, we have no comments from staff on this. I think your letter had, let's see. Okay, your letter was asking for, request referral of this action to Dutchess County Planning pursuant to General Municipal Law 239M.
Which it turns out was already
Huh?
completed.
Yeah, was that,
He actually sent us a copy of the letter that the county had sent to the board.
okay. All right,
Did
so
you-
that was taken care of, and we haven't received back comment on that?
There were a couple of comments about the planning board was recommending commissioning plan, decommissioning plan, couple of other items that
Okay.
I feel could be, conditions of, site plan and special use permit approval if the board so wishes. But they were leaving up to local decision.
Okay, so,
I guess there is a decommissioning plan.
yeah,
That
for the,
previously was approved,
so,
so maybe if
I
we
was-
just amend that.
yeah, because that was what I was just gonna say, is it just a matter of amending the decommissioning plan that's in place to also include the battery storage?
Yeah, I don't even know if it was that specific. It may, I'll go back and look at it, I had forgotten until you mentioned it. I think it basically more or less said that, they have to remove everything from the site. I don't think we got too specific about what was on the site.
Right, it was more or less, they were supposed to clear, if for some reason, when they go to decommission it, they were to clear the site and basically just,
Basically-
seed it so that it grows back as a,
And if they don't do that, then the town has the right to go in, make any changes, and then charge it back against the property as a lien. So that's basically all. It may not even have to be amended. I'll look at that, but I suspect we would not, we didn't talk about transformers, we didn't talk about, anything. But the solar panels, I believe, were put in by Auger
Yeah.
posts.
yeah, they were the
So-
screw-type augers going
Yeah.
into the ground, the posts.
So, I mean, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
It's not, most of the stuff is pretty easy. I think the biggest issue would be whatever transformer pad or something, would be left. That was, I think, probably the biggest issue, more than anything else, so I don't, well, these are on a pad as well?
Actually, I think they're just a buried foundation, right? Not a-
Yeah, I can speak to that. There's a couple of different foundation options, either a full pad or piles, but it would be some form of concrete foundation.
Okay. And then,
Yeah.
so that would be removed, reviewed by the building department, so.
yeah, they would, Yeah.
You know, because there was some,
Yeah.
you probably know as well as I do. but,
Yeah.
You know, solar farms kind of in this
Right.
gray area where they fall under the
Right,
uniform code.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how do you regulate them? I don't.
But technically, yeah, it still falls in as a structure.
Right.
You know, and I'm assuming that the applicant wants to do something to install these so that they're not gonna be subject to, ground conditions, with the freeze-thaw cycle. So you're
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
gonna-
the systems themselves are pretty heavy. The battery storage containers can be upwards of 100,000 pounds, so you need a good foundation to support them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to freeze and thaw tipping and you're having it sink one way or the other.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I'll go look at, I'll make a note to look at the
Make a note to look at
decommissioning
it.
plan, but
Okay.
I don't think I think what's currently in place is probably sufficient.
All right. Okay, so in terms of, there was the question about a public hearing. But I don't know if there's any need for a public hearing. We had one for the original solar farm. We discussed it earlier. This is going to be installed on the back of the property. I believe it's
This is
far enough.
9D up here? So you're,
Yeah, this is 9D here, so you see it's very far away from the highway. And in
this is
fact,
this is power line easement here?
correct, yes. On this plan here, you can see there's still a significant amount of vegetation around the back of the property.
Yeah.
So in its current location, it would be very, very difficult for anybody to see it.
So you're quite a distance from any nearby homes.
And I
Yes,
believe
that's correct.
there's also a power line back here.
There
They have
is, yeah, there's a power line.
They have the
easement
right of
that's
way
there.
on the two sides. Yeah, for Central Hudson and
One may be
and
nicer than
Marcy
one's
South
central.
go through there too? Or is that further to the north?
Not sure.
So this is the Myers Corners Chelsea line from Central Hudson.
Right, Central.
Chelsea Forgebrook, Central Hudson, and then another Pleasantville, Central Hudson, Pleasantville.
The Marcy line, I think, is up by the junkyard.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's here, actually, yeah, the NIPA,
okay.
Marcy South.
Okay.
Marcy
So it
South's
actually,
up
yeah,
there.
it
So you-
converges with the.
Yeah.
the
So you're
Central
almost
Hudson.
like surrounded by, by transmission lines. Okay.
They came in with the petition when because we amended the solar law regarding this property, and it probably is
Right, the most
the
ideal.
best spot.
Right, ideal property for installing a solar farm.
And what's really ironic, correct, right, is this doesn't tie into any of the lines that are around, because it's a much lower voltage, so I always thought that was ironic. So, yeah, I don't think Central Hudson's coming to the public hearing.
So with that being said, do we wish to have a public hearing as a board? No. Okay, so we need a motion to waive the public hearing for the amendment. Okay, motion's made. Second. All right, all in favor? Okay, so motion passes. All right. So then I guess it would just be for a resolution, being that there really is no concerns to be addressed, other than the decommissioning plan, which we'll have to,
I'll send an
We'll
email.
check on that.
but
Okay.
I'll check on it.
all right. So, assuming the decommissioning plan doesn't need any major revision,
It wouldn't need even if it needed a revision, it would be a condition.
it would just be a condition of the approval, correct? So, we need a motion to authorize the planner to approve, or to approve the planner to write resolution for approval of the amendment.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Motion's made, seconded, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that motion carries. So at this point, we're pretty much all set with the amendment. You'll hear back from staff. We'll get it on one of the future agendas to go ahead and vote on the approval. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right. Okay, so, next item we have is an extension regarding the Sikh Temple, which is at the corner of Old Hopewell Road and All Angels Road, and they are looking for an extension for their site plan approval retroactively beginning May 6th, running through May 5th of 2020. Get a motion to approve the extension.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so the motion carries. All right, our next extension we have here is for Calvary Chapel of the Hudson Valley. They're seeking a extension from September 14th, 2019 through March 13th of 2020. They're requesting an extension in order to allow for DOT to complete their review and prepare their permit approval for the road work. So we get a motion to go ahead and approve this extension.
I'll move that.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. The last item is the Hindu Samaj two-lot consolidation. They're looking for retroactive extension beginning June 2nd, and they're going to extend through December the 1st, 2019. Get a motion for this approval?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. All right, so being that's the last item on the agenda this evening, need one more motion.
Paul, your turn.
To make a motion to adjourn, please.
Second. Okay, motion made, second, okay. So we've adjourned.